Greetings, everyone. I am here today with Terence Chatmon, the president and CEO of Victorious Family. He's been a guest on the show before, so if you'd like to go back and take a look, go to the YouTube channel and check out episodes 443 and 444. You'll see part one and part two. Today, Terence is here to talk about a very special launch event that's taking place on the 19th of April. So, Terence, welcome back to the show. And I want to hear all about this event that you have going on.
Well, it's good to be back. We, in the last episode, we talked about the crises within the family. And on April 19th, we're looking to have a debate and discussion and sharing as to how we can turn the tide around this crisis of family discipleship.
Yeah, and I know that your organization is all about family transformation, and it's also all about helping children to get to the point where they not only just know about God, they actually deeply and intimately know God in a loving relationship that lasts a lifetime.
Absolutely. We think the next great movement, if as we think about family discipleship, is being ignited in the home. And Victoria's Family is playing a major role in igniting that flame. For over a decade now, we've been training parents and faith-based leaders, i.e. pastors, et cetera, around this topic of family discipleship, how to bring your kids up in the training and instruction of the Lord. And we've had the good fortune to train over 100,000 parents in over 39 countries. And so we're taking those best practices that we've had over the last decade, and we're now moving them to a strategic position to start to reach millions across the landscape of America as well as abroad. So we're excited about that. On April 19th, we're going to be casting the vision as to what this looks like around family transformation. It's going to be a very distinct event, of course, champion speakers and so forth. But what I'm excited about is the conversations that we will have to build a strategy to ignite this flame around family discipleship in our nation, because we believe that as the family go, our communities and the nation goes. And we are preparing parents and leaders to lead that charge.
Absolutely. And so tell us a little bit. I know you have an all-star lineup of people who are coming. Give us a little hint about who's going to be there and what they'll be talking about.
Well, the Lord's been good. I mean, of course, we'll have champion speakers like Steve Green from Hobby Lobby, Bob Lepine, ex-co-host with Family Life Today, and many others. And, they're going to give me a few minutes on the podium just to say a few words. So, that will, hopefully will bring someone else right behind me to kind of bring things back up. But I'm honored to do that and speak and cast a vision as to where we're going. But in addition to that, we're going to have an amazing songstress from the Tabernacle Church in New York, singing an amazing rendition that I won't tell you because we wanted to be a little bit of a surprise. And then we have a C.S. Lewis-like monologue actor from the main stage that will be performing this amazing monologue around the family and challenging us. So we're excited about that. Of course, wonderful dinner, gala, other entertainment. We'll have some celebrities there like Dominique Wilkins, who will be auctioning some things. So it'll be a great event, but here's the key. Of course, you're going to have dinner. Of course, you're going to have these champion speakers. Of course, you're going to have this transformational vision casting session, but you'll also be able to tour the World of Coca-Cola in Atlanta, Georgia, and you'll kind of get a glimpse as to what the secret formula of Coca-Cola is, how it's made, and taste. And then you'll get a chance to taste these great beverages from around the world. And then more importantly, at the end of the evening, you'll spend time with some strategic thinkers on the faith, home, and education front as to how we can begin to turn the tide and see families transformed around this nation.
Yes, and I think it's significant that you're holding this at the World of Coca-Cola. And as we've just talked about before, you actually were an executive leader at Coca-Cola in a past time period. And so it just makes sense that you're coming back home, if you will, to
Yes.
Coca-Cola. So tell us, Terence, who is this event for? Who should be really thinking about signing up for it?
For those who have a heart for the family, they see that the family's in crises and they want to see the families thrive and flourish. So, number one, if you have a heart for the family. Two, if you are in a leadership position or influencer position in the community and network, you can get that message out and begin to join a movement of family transformation. We want to talk to you. We want you to be a part of this. If you're a pastor in the church, we want you to be a part of this. If you're a marketplace leader, that have an influential network in the community, and you want to get this message out, like a Coca-Cola, we want you to come and celebrate with us. And if you're also in education, we have educational leaders, as we'll be talking about a distant learning program that will be going out to major universities in our country. If you're in the education field and you're a thought leader, we want you to be a part of this. So to sum it up, we are looking for influential thought leaders who have the willingness and the ability to spread this message around family transformation. We now have one of many solutions, but we've borrowed that solution from a very good source. And that source is 66 books that we can't duplicate, we can't replicate, but we can certainly imitate. That book is called the Bible. And so we've taken the formula that Jesus has given us and we've put it into a process. We've tested it. We've proven it. We've trained over 100,000, and we're inviting thought leaders to now multiply it to the nation. Every street, every highway, every byway, every apartment, every city, every state around this nation is challenged with this issue of family crisis. And we want to help be one of many solutions. So that's what we want. We want thought leaders at this particular session on April 19th at the World of Coca-Cola.
Now, I know you've been in business for quite some time, more than 10 years. And so, what makes this year particularly significant and why this event now?
What's so exciting, and here's why we're taking it back to the World of Coca-Cola. As you know, I had a large executive role at Coca-Cola, which is right down the street. And there was a method that they taught us. It was called the blue sheet process. It was a Miller Hyman process, and it taught us how to do business plans within 45 minutes. I mean, fully funded, fully operational, billion-dollar programs was through this blue sheet process. We've adopted some of that process into our family discipleship methodology. And so, what else would it be fitting but to host this at the World of Coca-Cola, where it all kind of started, where my family began to really take on this process of a blue sheet process and then put it in families, and now 100,000 families around the world. So, for business leaders, as you know, they get things done. They're difference makers. They have a network that can move out in a mighty way and touch many people. And many of our young folks today are not coming to church, but they're sitting in the cubicles around companies around the world. And now they're sitting on Zoom calls or whatever, but they are engaged in the marketplace, and the marketplace has influence. And so if you are a marketplace leader, you're strategically focused, we like to talk to you about this next great movement of family discipleship that's being ignited on April 19th at the World of Coca-Cola.
So, you mentioned business leaders, you talked about educators, you talked about family people. What about the church?
There's no great movement that take place without the church. And so what we want to do is, of course, we've got to come alongside the church and help them and support them to thrive and to flourish. But, many people aren't in the church today, so we've got to go outside the four walls as well. But for pastors, we've been serving with pastors for over 12 and a half years. We've trained over 36,000 leaders, pastoral leaders around the country. And so we're asking pastors to come. There can never be a great movement of family discipleship without the church. We know that's his bride. We know that although it may seem like things are declining in the church, he has a plan. And we know that plan includes the church. But it also, in our philosophy, in our paradigm, it starts in the home and it should be supported by the church. and reinforced. And so we have to work together in this process of family transformation.
Actually, that's wonderful because being a partner to the church is key to success. I think in the past, you might have mentioned that sometimes it started with the church supporting the family, and now you're talking about how's the family kind of like going the other way to the church. Is that accurate?
Well, what most have done is we've abdicated the responsibility to disciple our children to the church. And that might have been a good approach, but at the end of the day, the church might have our children for maybe 3 to 6 hours a week, and I'm being generous there. Well, we have our kids at home under our direction for much longer than that, right? And so my philosophy is that we can no longer abdicate the discipleship of our children to the church, to Christian schools, to Christian camps, to the education, to government, etc. We must now take as parents that responsibility on in the home. So what we're saying, it needs to be, instead of church-centered and home-supported, it needs to be home-centered and church-supported. Both have a very significant role, but the parent should be the primary discipler of their children, and the church has to make it plain and make it understood for the parent to implement in the home. We come along and help with that process, and we've helped serve 36,000 churches in that process. And so the idea is coming together, church, home, education, government, every area of influence in our nation can benefit from a strong, healthy, thriving, flourishing family.
How can people find out about it? Where can they go to get more information? Where can they go to sign up?
Well, we're excited. victoriousfamily.org/take the next step. victoriousfamily.org/take the next step. You'll find all the information there, also how to register. We have sponsorships available, tables, seats. So reserve your seat at the table. And I guarantee you, you will not be disappointed. It will be a distinct experience for you. And you'll walk away not only energized, but activated with a true vision going forward as to what family discipleship could look like in this nation.
That is wonderful about what family discipleship could look like. What else would you say is a benefit to those people who do attend? We understand how it's going to benefit the ministry, how it will benefit families in general, but the actual attendees, what will they get out of being there?
If your family is dealing with anxiety, if they're dealing with despair, if they're dealing with stress, if they're dealing with the thought, is there any hope for our children to lead and follow in the faith pathway and the legacy that you have walked in? If you have a concern as to the spiritual discipleship and the growth of your children, of your grandchildren, this event is for you. When we think about the family, I realize, and I'm going to speak to dads especially, there's never a time in a child's life that they don't crave the love of the father, of the parent. Whoever has authority in the home is their refuge. And if we can restore the family again, if we can restore the home again as the primary place for discipleship, to train and instruct our kids to who he is and what he's done, I believe we will see a flourishing nation. We will see a flourishing home. Our communities will be different. Our nations will be different. At the very fabric and core, biblical worldview is shaped in the home between the ages of 3 and 14 years of age. So if we miss those formative years, we play a catch up. And today, what we see in our colleges and universities is 1% of our college level students have a biblical worldview.
So this is really important because you're not just
It's
talking
critical.
about families, you're talking about whole societies. You're
That's right.
talking about the world, and everyone has a stake in that or can have an opportunity to influence. So the date again is April the 19th at the World of Coca-Cola. So 19th of April, what day of the week?
It's a Wednesday.
Wednesday night, 6 to 10. So make sure that you are there. Those of you who fit the demographic that Terence was talking about, and that's just about all of us, then make sure that you are there. So I want to just close today with a reminder of a verse that we often think about when it comes to children, and it's Proverbs 22:6. And it says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. So this is all about training up those children to be world citizens, to be ambassadors for Christ, and to live the victorious life themselves. So make sure you show up on April 19th at the World of Coca-Cola in Atlanta, Georgia, for this wonderful celebration event. See you there. You've been listening to The Voice of Leadership with me, Dr. Karen Wilson Starks. And I want to give a special thanks to jazz saxophonist Ron McMillan for granting us permission to use his gifted music on our show. Thanks for listening, and remember to go to my website, TRANSLEADERSHIP.com, for more strategies, insights, and leadership resources.